Hey guys, my name's Mike. I go by Hawk and Game, and today I'm here to bring you the updates from Keepsake Games. Now, of course, they had their Q&A today, and I'm going to link it down below so that you guys can watch it on their official YouTube channel. But I figured we would go over in a little bit of a synopsis the roadmap that they provided, as well as the information they give. Right off the start, we're going to talk about the price. They said that the price of the game is going to be $19.99 USD. If you are not on USD, then I will link a few other currencies below. They did mention that certain regions such as Brazil or Poland are going to have adjusted prices to make them more reasonable for people. So good on them. And I mean, at $20, this game's practically a steal. I mean, the demo was a blast, and the quality of what they're providing for that price point, I mean, who can complain? Before we get into the roadmap, I figured we'd go over a quickfire session and just mention some things that the chat had brought up, questions that got answered during their Q&A, and then we'll bring up the roadmap and we'll talk about that. So, quickfire. People asked, will there be other options than pineapple pizza? No. Kulianos, one of the head devs, he says the pineapple's staying, guys. Sorry. Larger crews. Now, Kulianos has been talking about how if they get 1 million purchases of the game, he's going to do a battleship. And we want a battleship, guys, so please buy. But he said, if we do the battleship, then we may need a larger crew, in which case they'll have to look into adding crews of larger than 4 players. So, on the horizon, maybe. Not guaranteed, but currently it's 4 players, but we'll see what happens. GeForce support. That is something that was briefly mentioned. I believe it's confirmed, but we'll have to see what the devs say going forward. But technically, you should be able to get GeForce support with this game, so pretty cool. Now, the other one that people were asking about is, will we be able to enter the hangar and explore the ship? They said yes. That is not in the game at this time. That is something that they're working on. They said there's a few technical issues that they got to iron out before that's an option. But they said it's not a completely insurmountable feat, and they will be tackling it as we progress. Now, let's go ahead and get into the roadmap, guys. Let's go ahead and swap it over, and I will pull that up, and we'll be able to check that out. Jump Space roadmap from Keepsake Games. As it says here, this is a living roadmap. It will be updated as development continues and community feedback changes our priorities. Chapter content will not be added in order, so it may not come out exactly in the order that you're seeing things. Check back often. So we will definitely check back on this occasionally and see how things are progressing. Alright, so first of all, we have current content. Now, this is the stuff that is actively in the game right now that you will be able to experience when you purchase the game on early access on the 19th. So we have mission types. That'll be 9. Now, in the demo, we only had 2, so that's 7 more than what we experienced in the demo. So new things for people to experience. Player sectors. Now, these are the areas that you will be jumping to, the places you'll get to explore in mission. There will be 50 plus. In the demo, Coolio said there was probably about 15 to 20 areas, so there's well over 30 more sectors that we will be able to explore. Unlockable galaxy regions. There's going to be 4. Now, there was only 1 region, as I recall, in the demo, so having 3 more than that we can explore, that means there will be a whole lot more to see. Ships to pilot. 2. Now, in the demo, we only had the catamaran. We had that 1, and that was probably, if you're a Star Wars fan, think the Millennium Falcon style ship, and if you're a Star Trek fan, think Defiant from DS9. It was a pretty cool ship. It was good for accommodating 4 players, and it was very versatile, so very nice, but we're going to have a second one, and they've already shown that to us. It's going to be the Dart, which they said is geared more towards single to duo players. It's going to be a little bit different than the catamaran, so we get to explore that and see what that's all about on the 19th. Now, they did mention that how you unlock it is that there's going to be a specific mission where you find a black box. When you bring that black box back to the hangar, mind you, you're going to have to find it in mission, and then you're going to have to complete the mission, because if you back out, you're going to lose it. But if you complete the mission with that black box, you will unlock the Dart, and that will be something that will be a blast for us to explore. Now, Ship components. They said there's going to be 26. Now, of course, you had ship components already installed in the ship when you had the catamaran in the demo, but there were a couple of unlockables that you were able to find. They said there were only a couple, so 26 ship components that we are able to swap out and customize our ships with. That is going to be a lot of fun. Player weapons. They said there is 8. They said they have added 1, and they said it is a machine gun type weapon. They didn't really go into detail, but that is interesting. Ship enemies. There's going to be 16. And ground enemies, there is 11. Now, they did say that there are new enemies, at least one. I think they specified ground, but I'm not 100% certain, so don't quote me on that. Regardless, there's going to be new enemies to explore. So, new things to deal with and encounter. Chapter 1. The Resistance Coalition. Now, this is already in at launch. This is basically what we're getting with this. This is going to be our story arc. This is how things are going to be going for us when we first get into early access. So we're going to be in Chapter 1 at launch. They said they're going to be breaking stories and updates up into chapters. And as you can see, we have Chapter 2. And this is slated for Quarter 1 of 2026. And it is entitled Atira Strikes Back. Now it's going to have several updates. Now right here at the top, remember things may not be in this order, but it does mention endless mode or endless modes. This is something that has been discussed heavily in the Q&As, and basically what we can expect from this is that there's an endless amount of jumps that we get to test our metal and continue to find new upgrades and new gear. How will it end? Will it end when we die? Will it end if we decide to end it? Not sure. They haven't really gone into too many details, and this is not implemented yet, so we really don't know. But it is something that I'm sure a lot of us, myself included, are really going to enjoy seeing just how many missions, how many jumps we can get in before things go sideways. Text chat. Notice this has got a green check mark, so this is more than likely already in the game and ready to go. So you can be able to text, chat your friends in-game, and, as we'll see in a minute, randoms as well. Very cool. New gun. So we had the 8 guns, now we're going to get a new gun. Very cool. Hangar vendors. Now this one's interesting. They mentioned in the Q&A that with the hangar vendors, you're going to be able to unlock the option to buy gear. Now they said weapons. They said materia canisters. They said artifacts. Now artifacts were the things in the game where in the middle of the mission you would find them and you would plug them into your ship. I think you could have 5 of them in a case. And you could even feed some artifacts that you didn't want to other artifacts to power them up. But artifacts would give you buffs. Buffs were things like increase your power, the firepower of your ship, or increase its shields, or make it to where you get buffed up every time you heal from eating pizza. Those were pretty interesting, so we're going to get the option to buy those. They also said that by achieving certain requests, by completing certain requests for these vendors, you'll be able to get better gear, such as different mark weapons. Now in the demo we had mark weapons from, I believe it was from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, and with each mark the weapon became more powerful, perhaps had more ammo in the magazine, and oftentimes would get a better sight, such as with the javelin you would start with iron sights on the mark 0, and then by mark 1 you were getting a scope, and then it would just continue to improve from there. So they also mentioned that there are going to be really hard missions where preparing by buying things at the vendors is going to be pretty important. So that is something exciting and will add depth to the gameplay. Melee weapons. Now this is something that has already been confirmed. They've shown off this wrench that this character is carrying, and they showed somebody in the team bapping up some ground units with this wrench. So I could see something like that being useful when your ship gets boarded. You know, close quarter combat, that would be handy. Offline support. Unfortunately, this is not in the game at this time, but it is coming, and that'll be good for those of us who, say, play on Steam Deck. Ship shield revamp. Now, they didn't go into too much detail on this one, but Kolianos did mention that he's not real thrilled with the way that the shield system currently works. He said it's basically like having extra health. Now, this is the health on your ship, this in green, these 5 pips, and these 4 blue pips are your shield, but they really operate the same right now, and he wants to mix that up and change things. So, no idea what he's got planned, but we will have to wait and see. sector modifiers. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this and what we can expect. I do remember in the demo we were able to get random asteroid fields that would pop up and ship ambushes, and due to the way they have this game set up, it basically keeps track of how well you're doing. So difficulty scales based upon the difficulty modifier at the beginning of the game, of the beginning of the mission that you choose, and also scales based on the amount of players. However, this game also keeps track of how well you are doing. If you are doing poorly, then it might dial things back enough to make it where you can finish the mission. And if you are doing really well, things just might go crazy. So, really curious to see how this plays out and what all this entails. Lobby browser. Green check mark. Pretty sure this is in the game already and ready for you guys, so you'll be able to play with randoms. And given the fact that this is a multiplayer game that is it's not completely dependent on having others. You can play solo, but there is a lot to be had, a lot of enjoyment to be had when playing with other people, and this is just going to make it easier to do that. More sectors. We already had, 50 plus sectors, so having more? Why not? More things to see, more things to explore. Story expanded. I mean, this is to be expected. With each chapter, we're going to get story elements, and so that's going to be a wonderful thing to delve into. I mean, maybe you've been running the same missions over and over because you've already completed the story from the last chapter. Well, now we get to proceed and see what else is in store. New ship. I mean, this is already in quarter 1. They're promising a new ship. That is pretty cool. Can't wait to see what they do. BuddyBot improvements. Yeah, Buddy's a great addition to the game. He does make solo play much more feasible. But as with human players, he's not always the most accurate character. And, well, he did tend to spend resources pretty liberally. So maybe some adjustments would be nice. More components and artifacts. Now, we've already talked about how we're going to have quite a few components. I think it was 26 we said. And artifacts, ways to customize your ship and ways to power it up. So having more of that, that sounds like a good time. Player trait system. Now, they talked about this one, and it was pretty interesting. They said, Kulianos was talking about how we're going to have traits on our gear now, that, specifically speaking of suits. Now, I imagine in the demo you had a helmet and you had a suit that you got to choose from, and he was saying that you're going to have 2 ways to deck yourself out with different traits, so that is pretty cool. So I'm imagining it's going to be a helmet and a suit that will do different things. He said traits could be something like giving you extra ammo to carry on your person or giving you extra shields, things like that. So the dev team has also mentioned repeatedly that they're not interested in locking anyone into any specific role, so I can't imagine these traits being insanely powerful, but nice little buffs. Hey, why not? Make yourself look cool like one of these 3 guys and give yourself a little buff to whatever it is you like to do. Slide movement. Now, this is heavily requested. Lots of people have been asking for this. This is a first-person shooter with a lot of the first-person shooter movement options. So having the option to slide, it just makes sense. And, well, I personally, I was addicted to the movement in the demo. Being able to quickly transition from jetpacking, grappling, running, all kinds of things. It was a lot of fun. And I also enjoyed the grav plates. I call them grav plates. I mean, that's could just be the nerd in me coming out, but they basically change your gravity, and they're plates that you can find on the ceiling and ships and various things. Whatever. I thought it was cool, but we'll be getting a slide pretty quick. That's pretty neat. Love this T-pose. Obviously placeholder. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Great stuff, guys. Really enjoying what you're doing. Keepsake Games. Keep it up. Alright, new enemies. So we'll get new enemies. No idea if that's a ship, if that's a ground unit. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm sure they'll be taking player feedback and see what's needed. Photo mode. Now this is exciting. A chance to be able to pose you and the squad and take photos and put them on your phone. Screenshots with, take your screenshots and put them on your desktop or whatever you want to do. That'll be awesome. Show off your drip. Whatever you want to do. Have fun with that. Mission types. We're going to get more mission types. And as we said, there's 9 of them. We're going to get more. That's exciting. More to do. And then we come to Chapter 3, Secrets of the Telmari. This is also slated quarter 1, so we're going to be getting a lot of updates really fast, which means they're really going to be working on this game quickly, and they're going to be working on it hard. It also means we're going to be getting the story elements to roll out pretty quick, so it's not going to get dull, guys. We're going to get a new gun, and we're going to get more sectors, and I absolutely love this photo. Look at this foliage. I mean, this is unlike anything else I've seen in the game. I mean, this is beautiful, so I can't wait for that. Really going to see some new places to explore. It's really going to be fun. All right, first-person pilot view. Now, this is something that's also been highly requested. There's a lot of people that they prefer the third-person view when they're piloting the ship, and that's fair. I mean, you know, if that's your jam, go for it. But there's a lot of people, such as myself, that would rather be looking out the windows of the cockpit, and that is going to be a thing. Chapter 3, slated Q1 2026. We're going to get this feature more than likely. So, very cool. I'm looking forward to that. Scanner revamp. Now, they mentioned briefly that there is a component in the game that allows you to basically use the scanner to debuff enemy ships. That is pretty sweet and would give the engineer a way to contribute to combat more than just repairing the ship. But beyond that, we don't know much. They did say when somebody asked that they might add some kind of a hacking system, but we don't have any details on that, and it's not confirmed yet. So just something that is possible on the plate. Story expanded. Yep. Each chapter we're going to get more story. This is pretty cool. Can't wait to see what's coming. More mission types. So we had 9, then we jumped up to whatever they're going to give us in chapter 2, and then more in chapter 3. Voice chat. Now, this is something that a lot of people are going to want. It is not currently in the game. It will be coming, and they're saying Q1, so it'll be coming pretty quick. In the meantime, we'll use the text chat, we'll use Discord, whatever it is that you typically use to communicate with your friends, etc. We'll be able to get by, but this is coming eventually, and we'll be in before 1.0. New ship. I mean, we've already been promised a new ship, and now they're saying there's going to be a new ship in Chapter 3. That's really cool. Something else to explore, experiment with. Yeah, this game is going to be hopping, guys. Weapon variants. Now, they have a picture of the multi-tool pistol here. That's pretty cool. They did mention in the Q&A that there's going to be other pistol types rather than just the multi-tool. So, no idea what that entails. No idea, no way to tell you guys what's coming. But that is something to look forward to. And who knows? Maybe it'll be more than just the pistols, but we'll see. New enemies. Again, don't know if we're talking ships, ground units. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Ground boss. This picture is really awesome, guys. I love this. This is clearly some kind of ship. It looks very cool. It looks very edgy. I'm here for it. But we're saying ground boss. You know, I have no idea. I'm really excited to see what Keepsake Games is cooking up for a boss, though. That's gonna be fun. I mean, the spider tanks that we dealt with in the demo, those felt kind of like bosses, mini bosses maybe. Getting a boss is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. From here on out, though, it's pretty much question marks, guys. I mean, we've got the name of the next chapter. Chapter 4 is Heart of the Corruption, but other than that, we really don't know much. And it says into 1.0 and beyond. So they're going to be supporting this game. As you can see, a lot of this stuff is going to be coming out pretty rapid fire, and we're going to be getting updates very quickly. A lot to look forward to, a lot to explore. And there's going to be more. It looks like they're going to be supporting this game for quite some time. Please, 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 buy this game. Buy it for your friends. Buy it for your family. Whatever you need to do. Let's support these devs. This game is really going to be awesome. Just to recap, we've got 9 mission types at start. The playable sectors will be 50 plus. Unlockable galaxy regions, 4. Ships to pilot, 2. The catamaran and the dart. Ship components, 26, so lots of ways to customize the way you want to play. Player weapons, there's going to be 8 of them. Ship enemies, there's going to be 16 different variants. And ground enemies, there's going to be 11 of them. So we have a lot to look forward to. You know what? We're just going to zoom in on this guy. He's pretty cool. All right. No idea what he's saying there. I do not speak that language, but cheers, guys. This game's going to be a blast. I hope you'll join us. And I'll catch you all later.